was fairly crucial that they waited for Italy's captain to arrive, and away we go. With Germany leading through those goals from Kroos and Götze, and only 2 more warm-up internationals for both these sides ahead of the start of Euro 2016 on June the 10th. News of a goal in another of the friendlies being played. That's at Wembley Stadium in London, where England have taken the lead against the Netherlands with a goal from Jamie Vardy.
He's hot. He's very hot.
More than a one-season wonder?
Yeah, I think I've seen enough this year to suggest that, you know, he can still carry that on. Of course, everybody, well, it was muted. Harry Kane was a one-season wonder, and I think he's put that to bed, John.
Yes. Vardy 19 goals in the EPL this season. Kane 21.
I remember covering him when he was at Fleetwood Town. And I know there's not many people watching this broadcast will understand just where and what Fleetwood Town is. But it's an how would I describe it?
Great fish and chips, that's what you'd say about Fleetwood Town.
Yes.
It's a seaside town on the Lancashire coast. With a team that, when he was playing for them to start with, were non-league.
Yeah.
And they finally got promoted to the Football League. And then Leicester were persuaded to pay £1 million for Vardy's services when other clubs had had a long look and hesitated. Well, the Leicester fairy tale continues to unfold. If you just take today's internationals as a snapshot, Drinkwater making his debut for England, Vardy scoring for England, Conte scoring for France. That's Insigne.
Well, it's been such a big story. We've even been discussing it on Sports Centre over here. Leicester City, things you never thought you would do. Discuss Leicester City at great length on Sports Centre because it has been such a great story, and it may continue.
Insigne, Montolivo. It's probably Italy's best opportunity so far.
Yeah, and I don't know why. I think he's trying to scoop this over Ter Stegen with his left foot, but actually, John, once he takes this touch, and it's a very good one, I thought it was there on his right foot. Now, Hummels is getting across. If he's really cute, he knocks it over Hummels here, penalty kick. Execution there from Montolivo wasn't the best.
Thiago Motta, Insigne. On back by Rudiger for Kroos.
Well, that was better. At least the Italians introduced themselves to the German penalty area, which is something I think Antonio Conte will be hoping to do a lot more of in the second half.
It's just the start of an excellent day of top-class footballing action on ESPN2. Don't forget at 7 Eastern, US men's national team against Guatemala in that 2018 World Cup qualifier. And hot off the back of that, the US under-23 men's national team facing Colombia in the second leg of their Olympic qualifying playoff. Those teams drew 1 apiece on Friday in Barranquilla.
Yeah, and I mentioned it in the first half. Look, the heat is on Klinsmann. The buck stops with the coach. That's always the case, right? Players out of possession, all this sort of debate and all this. I get that, right? But one thing I would say here is, it's about time some of these highly paid US players got the finger out and started producing performances when it matters in these big games under pressure, right? Don't be griping and moaning about out of possession and this, that and the next thing. Just get the job done, right? Prove your worth. Everybody loves an excuse. Blame the coach, blame this. Guatemala's a tough place to go. No, it's not. Don't give me all that.
Well, you talk about when it matters, Craig, and tonight it does matter.
Yes.
Be interesting to see the side that Klinsmann selects.
I expect the US to win tonight. I cannot see them perform as badly, certainly not at home.
Motta.
But if they don't, the next couple of days will be interesting. That blood from the early knock he took is still trickling down. As you can see, it was the head knock on Rudiger early on, accidental. See, I'm expecting him to control the game, John. Thiago Motta, when I see him play for PSG, such a good passer of the ball, very composed, not the quickest, but really can dictate a game from the middle of the park with his passing. We haven't seen that so far.
It's Benedeschi. Fortunate time to tread on the ball. Kroos. Insigne. In slid Hummels in the nick of time. Ozil. Motta. Marchisio at the moment for Italy, out injured, and of course no Marco Verratti either.
Yeah, very good player, real tenacious midfielder.
And I just wonder that the goal that Goetze scored at the end of the first half, tiny player creeping in between two Italy men to score. If one or both of Chiellini and Barzagli are there in the back three for Italy, do they concede that goal?
No. Well, they may concede it if it was the Germans were playing some sort of like a Mario Gomez figure, but not. Götze has not beaten any of those players you mentioned at the back post. It's just not happening. I mean, he'd have to go on a ladder to get above Chiellini, wouldn't he? He's had his injury problems of late, Chiellini, hasn't he? I mean, he missed the Champions League final last year, and then he missed Juventus' big games with Bayern in the Champions League, which was a huge blow for them. And maybe he's just at that age now where it does become more difficult, and you do pick up more niggling injuries.
Insigne.
I speak from experience. I used to like the physio to get his to earn his weekly salary. I wasn't alone.
Motta. Insigne. Foul by Julian Draxler on Matteo Darmian.
He's only 22, Draxler. Seems as if he's been around quite a while, John. Wolfsburg midfielder, you know, again, is another player. He's going to be the next big thing in Germany, and then he's going to be leaving Wolfsburg and potentially going somewhere else.
Not sure about the headgear.
I am.
So more testing delivery, looking for Zaza.
Yeah, Hector just gets a boot in there, otherwise it's straight on the head. That's a thumbs down, that headgear for Conte. I have to say, it's not happening. But
not too many managers can get away with a baseball cap on the sidelines. Tony Pulis seems to manage it.
I mean, if it turns it round backwards, then he will be taking the biscuit.
Certainly won't get away with it in fashionable West London next year. Of strength in depth, Marco Reus, just those available to be called upon. Schneider, the assistant manager, involved in overseeing what will be the first of a flurry of substitutions, most likely.
I'm guessing here, I think it might be Reus for Draxler.
Zaza. And then Hummels. Kroos. Taken instantly to Rudiger. Darmian. Insigne.
Or maybe Götze, John, and Müller through the middle. You know, let's be honest, there are so many permutations available to Jogi Löw.
Lorenzo Insigne of Napoli, who have at least ensured that Italy has a title race this season. 3 points behind Juventus. Insigne.
Yeah, I think Gonzalo Higuain, the Argentinian's played a big part in that. He's revitalised his career since leaving Real Madrid, and he is one bang-in form striker.
Bernardeschi. Cut down. Austrian referee Oliver Drachter. And this is the second yellow card of the evening.
Yeah, it was a poor sloppy pass from Hector, put Bernardeschi on the front foot. And to be fair, it's there to be won, but Hummels is just a little bit late, a little bit slow to the tackle here.
Bernardeschi is one of those over the ball for Italy. Ter Stegen rarely tested tonight. Bernardeschi will play it to Insigne. And Zaza. And then the strike from distance of less consequence. Emanuele Giaccarini.
Yeah, it was Mustafi at Kamal. He stood his ground there.
So Marco Reus gets a turn, having started against England. Next break in play he'll be on. So seems we're going to get a glimpse of Lorenzo De Silvestri of Italy. Draxler. Back heel from Götze. And Draxler is in here. And it's 3. Jonas Hector presented with his first international goal for Germany.
Well, it's the first time I've really seen Draxler open that stride. Little flick back from Götze. Bonucci slips, looks as if he may have injured himself. And then that's unselfish because, you know, at 22 years old, yes, you've played for your country before, that's fine. This is not new to him. But a lot of players would have taken that on themselves, having seen Buffon 1-1. Very, very unselfish, but I think typifies, John, this German team. And there's the left-back Hector to put it in to an empty net. But it was all down to Draxler's power running from the centre of the park.
Well, a moment for the Cologne left-back to remember for a long time. 12th cap, first goal, lovely back heel in the midst of it from Mario Götze. To tee up the opportunity taken on by Julian Draxler. And watched from the sidelines by Marco Reus, but this is of more concern for Italy, who are already without.
Yes.
2 first-choice defenders, and now a third. The one remaining one, Bonucci, is down, and that looks nasty.
Yeah, I thought that at the time when I saw. I mean, because I don't think there's any way Draxler was getting through had Bonucci been able to stay on his feet, but he lost his foot, and hopefully he's going to be all right. But if there's any doubt at all, then it's a friendly, get him off. Can't take any chances. It's the Götze goal. He will be the man to make way.
Here's Götze's 50th cap. He's brought his 17th goal and an early finish. An hour deemed to be sufficient as Royce comes on. Well, Bonucci is being replaced by Ranocchia of Sampdoria. Now this is not good for Italy, because if he's out, they haven't got a first-choice central defender left 2.5 months out in Euro 2016. De Silvestri on as well. Benedeschi. Block was by Mustafi. Motta. Bonucci will also cause much wailing and gnashing of teeth in Turin. This is Club Juventus. There is Lorenzo De Silvestri, who's replaced Florenzi. Announced in the background, there's just over 62,000. It's not short of a full house by very much. Official capacity for international games in this stadium, 70,000. Club games, 75. Müller. Rudy. By Germany to Zaza. So Craig, Germany impressively back on track after 3 defeats in 4.
Yeah, I mean, coming up to 64 minutes, they've been excellent tonight. Great response from the defeat to England when they were 2-0 up and allowed England to boss the game. But the big players have played tonight. You know, Kroos, Ozil, Götze got his goal, Thomas Müller. You know, they really have controlled this game, controlled the pace, controlled the tempo.
Müller.
And you mentioned injuries, John. You know, with Bonucci going off, and hopefully it's not particularly bad. Hopefully it's not bad at all. 2.5 months to the Euros starting, it has to be a pretty bad injury to keep you out. I think the worry comes for players is when you play the friendlies, and teams always play the friendlies like a week or so before you board that flight. That's the time where if something happens to you, muscular or hamstring, then you're really pretty much out of the tournament.
Emre Can coming on shortly for Germany. And Stefano Okaka of Anderlecht is also ready to come on for the visitors. Ozil. Müller. Ozil again. Müller's touch. Müller a third time involved in this move. It's Ozil. Too strong. Kroos. Started the goal scoring in the 24th minute. It's Müller. We talked about the positives for Germany. What does this do to Italy?
Looking at Italy, you know, they had a poor World Cup down in Brazil. They're obviously going to France. I thought their shape was very good against Spain in the friendly the other day. But I think there are some teams going to France, some of the so-called bigger boys, the bigger countries that have been there and seen it, John, that can maybe carry 2 or 3 of their players being injured. I don't think Italy can. I think Conte has to have pretty much his select 11. He might be able to carry a Chiellini not in the squad, or maybe somebody like that. I think if he gets 2, 3 or 4 of those type of players, I don't think they've got the strength and depth at the moment to be as competitive as they would like.
Multiple substitutions in the offing for Italy. Just going to be Okaka coming on.
I do like Emre Can coming on, playing for Liverpool. I think he's an intelligent footballer.
Now it's Zaza. Chances have been few and far between for him.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a famine for him so far, and that's nothing that he's done. He pretty much relies on service, and that hasn't been very forthcoming for the Italians and for Zaza.
Right, let's get the roll call right. Off comes Insigne, first of all, replaced by Stefano Okaka of Anderlecht.
Do you love this? The multiple substitutions.
The parish notices. Thiago Motta making way as well. This replacement, well, they decide amongst themselves, but ultimately it's Marco Parolo of Lazio. And Emanuele Giaccherini, who wasn't meant to be part of this game at all after he sustained a foot injury, made a miraculous recovery. And he's played well over an hour. Stefan El Shaarawy of Roma, his replacement. That's 5 of Italy's 6 substitutions used up. Thomas Müller blowing kisses to the crowd.
It's another day at the office for him, isn't it?
Well, except he hasn't scored, and usually when he goes to the office he does.
Yes, well, you know, he's sharing the responsibilities these days.
So Hummels takes the armband.
He looks as if the pressure's killing him, doesn't he, Thomas Müller?
He looks like he's barely broken into a trot at any stage, but he's played a full part in a much more consummate German display. Emre Can of Liverpool on for his 5th cap. Wembley. The Netherlands have equalised against England with a penalty by Janssen. Vardy had put England into a half-time lead in that game. It's Kaka's first involvement, and he's been pushed over by Mustafi. Shaarawy taking an immediate interest. Bernardeschi also in attendance. Ter Stegen able to deal with that fairly comfortably. Out it goes to Can. Okaka. To Silvestri. Hummels. Draxler. With just a slight slip. Levo came hurtling in. Kroos. Mesut Ozil. Rarity for Emre Can to get an outing in the midfield position. For Germany, they regard him as a right back.
It's interesting to see Ozil playing slightly deeper tonight. I mean, you did the game against England. I mean, Khedira laboured in there.
Goalkeeper Buffon out to meet it. Able to guide it into the path of Acerbi to complete the clearance. Royce. Can.
Khedira once could cover the ground. He just doesn't seem to be able to do it now, John.
Seems to be running through clay a lot of the time.
I think injuries have taken their toll somewhat.
Can. Back from Draxler. It's Hector. And that's a mistake. And this could be 4. Instead, it's going to be a penalty. And Buffon could be in a bit of bother too. There were players back covering. But it was an untidy and uncomfortable moment for the veteran.
I don't think the referee is going to apply the letter of the law here. Mistake there. Quick feet from Royce. That's really actually sorry. Quick feet and well, I think he's going to score. I mean, I think, you know, if that was a proper game, I think he goes there. Yeah. Now that is a rule they're going to look at, a law they're going to look at in due course. The sending off, the triple punishment, the penalty, the suspension.
Well, what a good night this is turning into for the world champions. How different to 3 days ago against England. The player who conceded the penalty faces up to Mesut Ozil, who, calm as you like, makes it 4. Salutary for Buffon, salutations for Ozil.
Well, he's had some things to say this week on international duty about his club, Arsenal, and their somewhat lack of focus, and it made some headlines in England. There certainly has been no lack of focus from the Germans. Tonight it's been game head on, and I include Ozil in that, but he did say some strange things about why he thought Arsenal were slipping off the Premier League title race. But he's been another good performer. for Jogi Löw tonight. And if I'm being honest, John, Toni Kroos and Mesut Ozil have had, for the bulk of it, the run of the park. They've just been able to do whatever they wanted to do in midfield. Montaliva and Mota, when they were on the field, could not get close to them.
This has been a statement of some intent by Germany after recent travails. Stands to be their biggest ever victory over Italy. It currently stands at 5-2 in a friendly international played back in 1939. Created a bigger margin here. Have given away a free kick. Mustafi, patience of the referee wearing thin with a player he regards as a serial offender, so a yellow card.
It was actually a very good drop of the shoulder from El Shaarawy there. It completely sold the defender down the river. There's just not been enough of that from Italy tonight. There's just not been enough guile and venture in their play in the final third.
This would be only Italy's third defeat since the World Cup. Itself a fairly rotten experience for the Italians. Tedeschi, and touched wide by Ranocchia.
Well, looked to me like he should score. Came back from an offside position, got himself on. Yes, absolutely, 100%. That's a poor miss at the back post, defender or not.
Simone Zaza, it's a fairly lonely evening. Makes way. Luca Antonelli of Milan. It's a full quota of Italian substitutions now. Oh, Ter Stegen indulging in his favourite pastime of trying to play out from the back. Benedeschi did leap up and strike his arm. From Ribery, interested spectator. Mixed reaction as his face appears on the giant screen. And Karl-Heinz Rummenigge, who was part of the West German side beaten by Italy in the 1982 World Cup final.
Tardelli.
Yeah.
Marco Tardelli.
Yeah. Alessandro Altobelli.
Altobelli, yes.
And of course Paolo Rossi.
Yes, who came back from suspension.
Yeah.
To really play well for Italy.
To spearhead their winning of the World Cup in 1982. Actually clinched in the Stadio Santiago Bernabeu in Madrid. Well, on Sunday, April the 10th, ESPN will be your home for a football doubleheader. First at 2 Eastern, the US women's national team hosting Colombia from Chester, Pennsylvania, followed by the return of MLS Soccer Sunday on ESPN, presented by Audi, with the Houston Dynamo hosting the Seattle Sounders. And of course, both those matches will be available streaming live on the ESPN app.
That was the first World Cup really I took in as a youngster. Because it was West Germany then, John, wasn't it? And the Paul Breitners of this world, the Rummenigges, you mentioned it, Stilica, some wonderful players. And of course, Italy along the way, that famous win over Brazil.
Chan.
Just thinking back to the World Cup in Brazil, just going off track here a little, would that be the biggest surprise in World Cup history, that demolishing of the home nation in the semi-final. 7-1, was it, Germany, Brazil?
I think of the modern World Cup era.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, it was astounding. It was like,
It was run fairly close by one of the opening games, Spain and the Netherlands.
yeah,
It's
you're right.
fairly surprising, but not, I agree, on the scale of the semi-final.
Man United fans couldn't wait to get Louis van Gaal at that point. Oh, how things have changed. Another head knock.
Quite rightly, an immediate halt called by Oliver Drachter, the referee.
Silvestre and Hector, both players only got eyes for the ball. It's really, these are unfortunate incidents that you do see on a relatively quite an often basis. But it's difficult to say, just how the German back four have done tonight, because they haven't really been tested.
Line deprived through injury of Jerome Boateng at the moment. Rudiger, who can also play in central defence. Challenged by Parolo. To Levo. Okaka. Sharawi, deflection on that, and a goal. Not one to celebrate. A minor irritation for Germany, and no consolation at all for the Italians.
Well, he's looked quite lively since he's came on. A couple of little drops of the shoulders. He's found himself in a lovely little position there. Okaka finds him. He looks a big, strong fella. This big Okaka's come on up front, and well, you take a pot shot and you get that little bit of luck. Came off Rudiger. Ter Stegen could do absolutely nothing about it.
Ozil. Kroos. Draxler. Hector. And De Silvestri. They recovered from that clash of heads. Ozil. Chan.
He's slightly less conspicuous, El Shaarawy, than he was with that hairstyle. He's kind of toned it down a little.
I remember someone playing international football.
Yeah.
Bleach blonde hair.
Yeah, I didn't have the Mohican. I thought about it. Yes. Things you do when you're in your mid-20s. You remember that far back?
No. Nokia. Two more German substitutions on the right there. Kevin Volland, striker from Hoffenheim. And we're also going to see Dortmund's Matthias Ginter. Hector, the left back who scored his first goal for his country. One of those coming off. To be a sixth cap for Kevin Volland. In place of Julian Draxler. Okaka. It's a busy day of football, not just in Europe, here in the US as well. And tonight ESPN2 will be your home for a US soccer doubleheader at 7 Eastern. We can reconvene for the US men's national team taking on Guatemala in a 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifier, hard on the heels of their shock 2-0 defeat in Guatemala City on Friday. And then the US under-23 men's national team are playing Colombia in the second leg of their Olympic qualifying playoff after a 1-1 first leg draw in Barranquilla. Both matches streaming live on the ESPN app. It couldn't have gone much better for Germany. 3 days on from a potentially morale-sapping loss of a 2-goal lead against England.
I think that they got over that quite quickly.
Much more like the old Germany. Sprightly, energetic, inventive.
Sometimes these are good little warmings for players and coaches, and kick up the backside, you know, just getting a bit complacent. And they certainly have responded, friendly or not, and they've been excellent. Just thinking about the game in general, John, I just feel Antonio Conte, when he gets to the Euros, if it's not gone his way, he's going to have to be more flexible with his shape. Because clearly the three at the back, and it might be down to personnel to some extent, but clearly as the game has worn on, the three at the back with the two wing-backs getting pushed back so far and then completely overrun in the midfield hasn't worked for them, and I think he's going to have to find, if that happens against the better countries, he's going to have to find a different way in game.
Another errant pass from Germany, getting slightly sloppy. Okaka. Still 1-1 at Wembley between England and the Netherlands. Vardy for England, Janssen penalty in the second half for the Dutch. Remember, Euro 2016 starts June the 10th, right across ESPN. 51 matches, 24 teams, 10 host cities, the biggest ever European football championship. First game, France-Romania in Paris on the 10th of June. Final in the Stade de France exactly 1 month later. Christoph Kramer. There's a last-minute call up to the World Cup final, waiting patiently. Here's Okaka.
Think about all the great strikers that have donned this blue shirt of the Italian nation. You know, they just, it's a position there that they haven't quite got that talisman anymore in the current era. You know, people thought it was going to be Balotelli for a period, and he just can't get his head right. He's got a talent, but something not quite right upstairs.
Ginter. Folland. Time for a corner. Yet another change. It's Kramer for Kroos. So, in summary, Craig, a useful, friendly experience?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you know, two good teams. I think it's important to not just bring in cannon fodder, because you learn nothing. You know, and they've brought in a very good outfit to play against in Italy, who have not been at the best. But the Germans have made them look, I would say, incredibly average tonight. And so it's been a very good exercise for Germany And I think it's been a good learning curve for some of these Italian players, and maybe for Conte in terms of who he's going to take to the Euros.
Mats Hummels. Mesut Ozil. Just 2 added minutes. For Jogi Löw to try and lay the ghost of what's happened in major tournaments at the hands of Italy. Germany have never beaten the Italians at a World Cup or a European Championship. Well, this doesn't guarantee that they will the next time they meet, but it's a nice little boost as they head towards the Euros. They've had a mixed time since the World Cup, 8 wins and 6 defeats. Get to France, they'll be up against Ukraine, Poland and Northern Ireland. Germany-Poland, always an interesting fixture. It was even more so when Polish-born Miroslav Klose was leading the line for the Germans, but Lewandowski will be playing for Poland against many of his club teammates at Bayern. De Silvestri, blocked by Hummels, cleared by Ginter. Folland. Their one last grand gesture from Germany. Send a happy crowd on their way. It's Emre Can. Matthias Ginter. Ozil. Time now up. If Germany don't get on with it, they won't get another shot away on goal. That is denied them, but not the victory, which is a handsome one. By 4 goals to 1. Handshakes and smiles from Jogi Löw, rather than frowns and gestures of frustration that we saw on the bench in Berlin just 3 days ago. Buffon conceding a penalty, fortunate not to be sent off, but this is a friendly. The goals from Kroos, Götze, Hector and Ozil from the spot. El Shaarawy late on for Italy. We will wrap things up when we return.